Welcome to the podcast From Stress to Success Blueprint. I'm your host, Lolita Guarin, and today's episode 132. And I realized that the previous episode, I went over 10 minutes because my goal is to be under 10 minutes. So I will try to talk less today. Okay, so we'll continue the conversation about stress and burnout. And one of the things, of course, there's plenty of things that you can do about your stress management. But how is that we burn out? Because we have too much to do. And when the intensity that we do it and do not take any breaks, it's kind of hard for us to, well, not to end up burnout. Um, so we talked about time management, few tips and tricks in the previous episode. Today, I want to talk about the amazing word called no. Question. Are you good of telling no to yourself and others? Leave me a comment below and tell me. Or you are a little bit surprised when they said saying no to yourself as well. Yes, so that's the funny thing. A lot of times when we talk about saying no and boundaries and um, having way too much to do, we have all of those things on our to-do list that a lot of times involve other people and doing projects, like for example, at work. It's like, okay, well, I have all of those things to do, and none of them is me. I'm just doing my work, and I cannot do more than this. And people piling up more work for me. This is how I used to be when I used to work for companies that had to do projects and more things. The more you do it, the more they kind of give you to do because, well, you can do it. So me as well. They would not give to other people who barely doing the work to do more, right? Because, well, the supervisor knows that those things will not be accomplished. It took me a few years to realize that I have to do less in order to less because in my mind, I was thinking if I accomplish more things, then when they accomplished, I can rest. But no, there were more things piled up on me. So when I stopped working so hard, there were less things given to me. I know it was confusing for me at the beginning, but I guess that's how things were. And we're doing the best always that we can. And why I was in that situation when I was all burned out and stressed out? Because I was afraid to say no. Yes, it has to do a lot with our loyalties and how we grew up when we were children and what we've been told that we need to always behave, we need to always please, we cannot argue, we need to sacrifice ourselves. Otherwise, well, we will not be validated and definitely we will not be loved. I don't know how that helped us, but at least we survived. The sad part is that we take this from our childhood all the way in our adulthood where that doesn't really work because we can take care of ourselves. We're not children anymore. It's not like the boss says, well, I'm not going to feed you today, so you're going to die. If the boss not going to sign you a check, you're going to say bye and you find somebody else. So it's very important to realize that you really in command of your own situation. So you can say no. Yes, that could be another quite a few hours of conversation, how we can say no. But if you are one of those people who you keep on saying yes to everything and you are afraid to say no, start just practicing of saying word no loudly. And when you go to the mall, walk around it. And those salespeople, they're trying to sell you a cream, a shampoo, whatever. You just say, no, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. Don't even take anything that they give you. Uh, you know, until you learn that, guess what? Nobody died. If you said no, just say no. And then when you have a conversation with someone and somebody just invites you to go somewhere that you don't want to go, you can tell them, I will make a decision later and then I let you know. That way you give yourself time and you're not disappointing them right away. And you're not pushing yourself into making decision right then because you don't want to disappoint them. So you probably will say, yes, okay, I will go there. So you give yourself more time to actually come to conclusion that maybe you don't want to, or maybe you want to, but then you can have a grip on, you in control, and then you can definitely trust yourself more in the future. Um, so let's say you're very good now with telling no to other people, telling no to projects. Somebody has a great idea and say, hey, how about we do this? Like one of your friends or something. And now you're like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. Or no, I don't want to go camping in the tent. It's not me. And it's okay if they go without you because, well, you're a confident person and you can do things that you want to do. And you're not afraid to express yourself and tell somebody else that no, that's just not your cup of tea. But then let's go back to that part when are you good of saying no to yourself? There's a lot of stress and burnout that we cause ourselves, like overthinking, like judging yourself and others, or getting entangled in your emotions and trying to think out yourself of the situation. When you start of your self-development and your healing journey, there's a lot of thinking and worrying and manipulating and looking into and judging yourself and all kinds of things that has to do really internally. It's like outside not much happening except that you're stressing yourself out. And because you're burning so much of energy, well, you're ending up burnout at the end of the day. So you need to have those boundaries and saying no to yourself. Let's say you have a tendency of overthinking things before they even happen. Let's say you worry way too much. You can say, I am not going to worry right now. Or you know what? Talking about worry, I like this great tip. Um, Make an appointment with your worry. And we all have phones these days. So on your phone, have like a notepad or something. And let's say you're going around your day and some worrisome thought comes along, something that you cannot solve it right now. Instead of continually thinking about it and contemplating, and then you're just kind of getting more sucked into this, tell yourself, no, 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 I am not going to worry about this. I know that's going to take me nowhere. So I'm going to put that worry on my list. And then when that day comes, my schedule appointment time with my worry, then I will worry about that. Then I'm going to think about that. And then you can make 1 or 2 appointments a week, put it on your schedule like a real person. And you can say, okay, this is the 15 minutes in my day that I'm going to talk with my worry. You will be surprised when you arrive to that time and you look at your list of those worries and you realize there was nothing really worry about. Or if there was something worry about, by now you already came up with a plan. Or it's still a good time for you to come up with a plan now. I kind of thinking maybe I should do another episode about worry itself and give you a few more tips. But this is just an example how you can say no to yourself. Help yourself to stay within your own boundaries and say, no, I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm not going to eat that donut anymore. Yes, I will be doing this gym exercise and whatever. But you get the gist. So saying a word no. It looks like this episode's gonna be a longer again. So tell me, are you good in telling no to other people and yourself? Cannot wait to read your comments. And tomorrow, we'll be talking a little bit more about stress management and burnout.